Alright, now that we've created a few learn slides, we are going to give the user a bit of a video here to watch. So we're going to go ahead and drop that video into our resources. And once our video is in our resources, we're just going to drag it out to our canvas. Now in our element inspector, we're going to find some controls for that video. So we'll turn on the element inspector. You see that it will autoplay, and you can choose to show the controls or not. We can also choose at this time to create a little bit of a border and maybe add a reflection for creating a little bit of depth. Now also towards the end of this video, I want to make sure that the user has an arrow opportunity to move on to the next slide. So I'm going to animate onto the screen towards the end of this video an arrow indicating that they can go on to the next slide. So I know this video is about 1 minute and 50 seconds in length. So I'm just going to go out onto the timeline around 1 minute and 55 seconds. And I'm going to drag in that right arrow, indicating that they may move on to that next slide. Now I want to animate that arrow on. So again, I'm going to just slide out on my timeline to about 1 minute 48 seconds, and I'm going to add in a place marker for the origin of that arrow. And now I need to turn on my little red record button. There's my record button, and I'm going to move my timeline out, and I'm just going to drag that arrow onto the screen. So as I'll see that my blue bars exist now, showing some animation. However, that animation won't begin until I get all the way out towards the end of my video. And that video lasts about 1 minute 50 seconds, so about 1 minute 48, that arrow is going to slide on, indicating that that user may move on to the next slide. So we'll add a little bit of an an action to that arrow. So we'll go over to our inspector, and we will make sure that our actions on mouse click send us to our next scene, or in this case, it's going to send us on to our quiz scene. We'll give it a little bit of a transition. We'll push from right to left and make it look like it's kind of going to that next slide. Now, let's go to our final scene here, our quiz. In our quiz, we're just going to move our menu down here to the bottom, even though that menu is not going to appear, because what we're going to do is we're going to add an element of the HTML widget. Now, HTML widget allows me to embed an iframe or a URL. In this case, I'm going to go out to my test bank on thatquiz.org, and I'm going to add in my URL, and it's going to suck that website basically right back into that widget. So as I go out to that quiz, I'm going to log into my account. I'm going to grab my URL for the quiz that I want. So I'm just going to simply hit Command V to copy that URL, and I'm going to head back to Hype. And while I have my element selected, I'm going to go over to the element inspector on the right hand side, and I'm going to paste in my specified URL. So Command V to paste that in. And as soon as I hit enter, you're going to see that website appear there. So what this is going to do, it will require a wireless or a Wi-Fi connection. But what this is going to allow me to do is going to suck that website right in. So I'll preview it, and as I click through the top screens, you'll see all of my actions there. And as I head over to my quiz, you'll see that that will pull my quiz from that URL right into my widget, which will appear in my iBook. I'm just going to continue to play around with this a little bit. As you see, I can tap on Learn, and I can tap to get the correct response, go on to the next Learn page, tap on my leg opposite. If I get the wrong leg, then I'm going to read that and get a little bit of feedback. I'm going to tap to close, and I'll try it again. So if I get the right one, I'll get to my tap to close after I get my feedback and my arrow on to the next Learn. Or if I want to, I can make sure that those transitions kind of look like they're flowing between pages. So I'm just going to change this transition. Instead of making it instant, I'm going to make it a push from right to left. And I'm just going to make it over half a second. And now if I preview from that current slide, you'll see that that builds in. I can tap and get the wrong response. I can tap and get the correct response. And I can move on, and it will slide to the next page. Again, just showing you all the tap interactions. Hopefully that's giving the user a little bit of feedback. They're learning what leg adjacent, what leg opposite, and what the hypotenuse are. They're ready to move on to the next one. And that next one will be the watch. They can watch the video. They can scrub through it if they want to. All the controls are right there. Now, if the timeline plays through the entire video without the user fast forwarding through it, which you can allow them to do that by auto playing and taking away the controls, then at the end they will get the arrow to pop them over to the quiz, or they can just select quiz and they can take their quiz.